Nigeria turns critical corner towards economic recovery as President Tinubu gives 2 years account. Former President Buhari, APC, greet at midterm. Power and mining sectors in focus as correspondents review midterm performance of renewed hope. Use past experiences to shape the future of ECOWAS. Surviving founding member advises sub-regional body at 50. Hello and thanks for joining us on NTA Network News. We are live in Abuja. I am Juma Yusuf. Adiola Kami Akere is in our Lagos Network Center. Benny Adams will be bringing you trending news in the world of sports and happenings in sports. Francisca Bele is our guide. Now let's begin. The Economic Commission of West African States is marking 50 years of existence, and it has been very proud of the initiative by the founding leaders. The sub-regional bloc has become a reference point not only on the African continent, but also globally as one of the models for regional cooperation. Today, on our survey, we asked the question, what would you like ECOWAS to give more priority to after 50 years of existence? Is it regional trade, political stability, cultural integration, or free movement of people? In our survey today, let's hear your voice as you vote in tonight's poll. Scan the QR code, make your pick, and stay tuned for the result of the survey at the end of tonight's bulletin. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says Nigeria has turned a critical corner towards economic recovery 2 years into his administration. In a nationwide address to mark his second anniversary in office, the president outlined key reforms under the Renewed Hope agenda, affirming that bold decisions taken since May 2023 are yielding measurable results. The reports will come in our subsequent bulletin. Now, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has praised President Tinubu's unwavering commitment to the Renewed Hope agenda, which is gradually revitalizing the economy, improving the lives of Nigerians, rekindling hope, and building a brighter and prosperous future for our nation. In a statement, Senator Akpabio says the bold initiatives and reforms, particularly in the areas of economic and fiscal policies, demonstrate the president's undying dedication to transforming Nigeria to its deserving greatness. Also congratulating the president on 2 years anniversary, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, says President Tinubu's good leadership and courage has led to significant savings of funds. The Chief Executive Officer of Aldo Nepad, Nigeria, Jabiru Salisu Abdullahi Sauri, commends the president's continued commitment to national development and expresses Auda Nepad readiness to support the administration's Renewed Hope agenda for a more prosperous and resilient Nigeria. Similarly, the chairman and members of the board of the Nigerian Christian Program Commission say the president has demonstrated remarkable capacity, determination, and forthrightness in leading Nigeria. Now, brighter days are ahead for federal civil servants as the Tinubu administration perfects far-reaching reforms to reposition the workforce. Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Didi Esther Wilson-Jack, has been speaking on these and other issues.
There is a committee working on the harmonization of salaries. So it is something that is ongoing. At every point, government cares to know what is the take-home of the civil servant. And, you know, like I say, money is not everything. So we're also looking, like I mentioned earlier, on the transportation. We're also looking at the housing. We have another flagship program here in the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, which is a Federal Integrated Staff Housing Program, popularly known as FISH. And I'd like to let you know that over the years, civil servants have been allocated houses under this program.
For the complete package, tune in to One on One tomorrow, Friday at 10:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA. The governing All Progressives Congress says the turbulence experienced in the journey to the renewed hope agenda in the first 2 years of Tinubu's presidency was a clear manifestation of a careful planning ahead of safe arrival within the ambit of a progressive and prosperous destination. Now, this came to the fore during the midterm assessment of the activities and legacy projects of the APC-led national government under the stewardship of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Political correspondent Abubakar Akwanga tells us more.
Truly, tomorrow we bring better days.
It's been 24 months into a 4-year journey of the APC administration under the 8 points christened in the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the momentum across various key sectors of the economy is already yielding the floor for national debate. And the governing All Progressives Congress APC says the spectrum is a magnifying testimony of working reforms in energy, health, road infrastructure, social security, food sufficiency, ease of doing business, and ultimately the national security.
The massive support for military welfare and funding of the armed forces have resulted in neutralizing of over 13,500 terrorists and arrests of nearly 18,000. President Tinubu's timely upward review of workers' pay and approval of 70,000 minimum wage, crashing the debt servicing ratio from about 98% to approximately 68%.
The National Publicity Secretary of the party explains that President Tinubu's flagship reforms for 2 years may be daunting, but the prospects will come with great relief that will launch a new path to a future of intergenerational significance.
Aside the fast tracking of the 1.5 trillion road concession projects under the Highway Development and Management Initiative, the administration is executing legacy projects such as the 750-kilometer Lagos-Calabar coastal highway, the 1,058-kilometer Sokoto-Badagry superhighway, the 486-kilometer Calabar-Abuja superhighway, the 421-kilometer Akwanga-Jos-Bauchi-Gombe highway, the 375-kilometer Abuja.
The National Working Committee of the party congratulates President Tinubu for steering the ship of the nation and staying true to his oath of office amid difficult times and contemporary challenges. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Now let's return to the earlier read report. As President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says Nigeria has turned a critical corner towards economic recovery 2 years into his administration. In a nationwide address to mark his second anniversary in office, the president outlined key reforms under the renewed hope agenda, affirming that bold decisions taken since May 2023 are yielding measurable results. The report.
Faced with a nation on the brink, President Tinubu says his administration acted decisively to halt a looming economic collapse, scrapping decades-long fuel subsidies and unifying multiple exchange rate windows. These reforms, he notes, though tough, were necessary to stabilize the economy. The results? Easing of inflation, fall in staple food prices, including rice. The oil and gas sector is bouncing back. Rig counts are up over 400% compared to 2021, and more than $8 billion in investments have been secured. On Nigeria's fiscal deficit, he points out that it has sharply narrowed from 5.4% of GDP in 2023 to 3.0% in 2024. The country generated over 6 trillion naira in revenue in the first quarter of 2025, with foreign reserves rising from $4 billion in 2023 to over $23 billion by the end of 2024. Fuel supply security is improving through local refining. With subsidies removed, the NNPC has become a net contributor to the Federation account. Debt sustainability is improving too. Nigeria's debt service to revenue ratio dropped to under 40% in 2024, down from nearly 100% in 2022. The country has cleared its IMF obligations and discontinued ways and means financing, once a driver of inflation. The president states that tax reforms are paying off. The tax to GDP ratio has risen from 10% to 13.5% in 1 year. It further protects low-income households with essentials like food, education, rent, public transport, and renewable energy, attracting 0% VAT. A new national fiscal policy and a tax ombudsman are being introduced to ensure fairness and accountability, especially for small businesses. Targeted and transparent incentives supporting high-impact manufacturing, technology, and agriculture sectors introduced to stimulate inclusive economic growth. It highlights that diversification is also taking root. The solid minerals sector has attracted fresh investments and seen revenues grow. On security, the president says greater collaboration among security agencies is restoring order. Bandit-ridden regions in the northwest are seeing peace return. Farmers are back on their lands. Highways are safer. Abducted citizens have been rescued. Access to education has expanded through new infrastructure and the rollout of the student loan scheme. Infrastructure development is ongoing, with key highways and roads under construction nationwide. He reaffirms his commitment to economic justice, national unity, and shared prosperity for all Nigerians.
Meanwhile, former President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his midterm, saying that as the party and the government celebrate, the country should be reminded that leadership is a continuous journey. Muhammadu Buhari called for steadfast support for the APC government as it marks its second year in office, explaining that reforms would achieve success gradually, not overnight. He expressed support for the ongoing efforts by the administration to curb poverty and inflation, adding, however, the task of reducing poverty and inflation, which is immense, must not be left only for the government, but the private sector and all citizens should in any way possible. He urged Nigerians to remain optimistic and stay confident about the country's future, while praying for the president to keep leading with wisdom and care. Former President Buhari wishes Tinubu heartfelt congratulations on his 2 years in office. In this special report, the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development was unbundled by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on assumption of office in 2023 into Ministry of Solid Minerals Development and Ministry of Steel Development. Now, this decision explains the president's commitment to explore the full potential in the sector. 2 years after the creation of the Solid Minerals Development Ministry, how far, so far? Mayor Ogidi reports on the journey.
From a forgotten child to a child of recognition and prominence. How a leadership takes the bold step to unearth the earth and unveil its hidden riches. For 2 years and counting, on solid ground, the Solid Minerals Ministry stands. Through the guidance of President Tinubu and the obedience of Minister Dele Alake and his lieutenants. From paltry 6 billion naira revenue in 2023 up to 38 billion naira in 2024. And in the first quarter of 2025, 14 billion naira already in the account. What is the miracle?
We had to computerize the system from the analog system to the new system. It has jumped our revenue astronomically.
A serious calculation of the contribution that this sector has made into the GDP in the last 1 year, you'll be shocked.
Investors' confidence renewed. Lithium factories in Kaduna, Niger border, Abuja, and in Nasarawa states set for inauguration this year. While Gemstone Training Center in Abuja integrating youth to the labor market, thanks to the prized local value addition policy of the ministry.
It has really been a wonderful experience. So
before they got to this place, they were giving starter packs.
Handshakes within and across the African continent, taking Nigeria's mining industry to the global market, focusing on geodata generation to boost exploration for a more transparent and less cumbersome industry.
We have over 10 brands, Chinese electric vehicles. We would like to bring them to Nigeria.
We want a situation where our local lithium here, the raw minerals, can also be used to produce these batteries locally here, and then go the whole hog, produce the electric vehicles. So we need this technology transferred.
Dele Alake initiated the MM Squad, that is the mining marshals, and they are taking the fight to the enemies then in the thick dreaded forest, recovering sites to the licensed owners, dormant licenses revoked, royalties and fees reviewed upwards, and illegal miners showing some level of repentance as 250 cooperative societies formed and set to benefit from the federal government financial benevolence in the industry. It is a work in progress, and Alake hopes for the best with the right funding as he continues to mine for more opportunities to reposition the mining industry. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
We'll take a break. There's so much more coming your way. Don't go away.
Wow, it's the 2 years anniversary of Mr. President. So let's roll out the drums and cymbals to celebrate this all-important milestone. Indeed, 2 years ago, His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, took over the reins of power and set sail with the ship of state at a time Nigerians were disillusioned and completely unsure of what the future holds. Thankfully, with your renewed hope agenda, you have and continue to impact lives in different spheres of national life, be it infrastructure, revenue increase, economic stability, job creation opportunities, boosting foreign direct investment, social security and welfare, and the list is by no means exhaustive. All of these extraordinary records under 2 years, I dare say, are indeed a marvel. Mr. President, as you mark 2 years in office, on behalf of myself and other well-meaning Nigerians, I hereby express our profound gratitude to you for your inclusive leadership, social impact, and progressive policies and programs. Once again, here's wishing you a hearty cheers and congratulations, Mr. President. Courtesy of IGP retired Mohammed Abubakar Adamu.
It's been 26 years of unbroken democracy in Nigeria, the longest ever in our history. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. In 2 years, the positive impact of your people-oriented policies are now becoming evident in the consistent growth of our economy, local government autonomy, passport reforms, unprecedented student loan, massive infrastructure development, and revolution of the transportation sector through the introduction of CNG vehicles. Akobi Omolodode, as we are channeling our path to prosperity, members of Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria has absolute confidence in your leadership. 26 years of unbroken democracy. Congratulations, Nigeria. This message is powered by Alhaji Dr. Musa Mohammed, Metakubi 1, National President, Region. Uproad Super!
The ad hoc committee on the need to investigate the implementation and remittance of the 5% user charge on petrol and diesel as provided under FEMA Act 2007 invites the Minister of State of Works, FEMA, NMDRA, oil trading organizations, oil marketers, regulatory agencies, and other stakeholders to a one-day investigative hearing. Date 2nd June 2025. Time 11 a.m. Venue Conference Room 028, House of Representatives, National Assembly Complex. For inquiries, contact the committee secretariat. Honorable Francis E. Wivey, announcer.
The Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Education, Dr. Maruf Olatunji Alausa, and Honorable Minister of State for Education, Professor Shuaibu Said Ahmed, cordially invite you to the National Press Conference on Technical and Vocational Education and Training, TVET. This high-level event will spotlight the critical role of TVET in driving national economic development, fostering job creation, and bridging the growing skills gap across Nigeria's workforce. Date Friday, 30th May 2025. Time 10 a.m. Venue TET Fund Office, Abuja. Announcer Mr. Abel Olamuyiwa Eniton, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Education. In furtherance of the renewed hope agenda on the road infrastructure revolution for economic regeneration, the Federal Ministry of Works has lined up 15 projects for physical and virtual commissioning and 9 projects for flag-off by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to mark the 2nd anniversary of his administration. In this regard, the Honorable Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, CON, on behalf of Mr. President, invites the esteemed presence of stakeholders and indeed members of the public to the commissioning and flag-off ceremonies for the events scheduled as follows. Day 1, Saturday, 31st May 2025. Venue, Jakonde Estate area, kilometer 8 of the project, Lagos State. Time, 2 p.m. Day 2, Thursday, 5th June 2025. Venue, Dangote Refinery Gate, Lekki Deep Sea Port, Lagos State. Time, 2 p.m. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Please accept the assurances of the esteemed regards of the Honorable Minister of Works. Announcer, Engineer Olufunsho Adebi, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Works. The Honorable Minister of the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development, Idi Mukhtar Meha, cordially invites stakeholders, partners, and industry leaders to the 2025 World Milk Day Conference, hosted by the Ministry. Date, Monday, 2nd June 2025. Venue, Nikon Luxury Hotel. Time, 9 a.m. prompt. Come, let's celebrate, reason together, and grow Nigeria's livestock sector. Announcer, Dr. Chinyere Akujobi, Permanent Secretary.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria.
Comel!
Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on. Malaria gone.
You're watching NTA Network News. Now, in the last 2 years of the present administration, the power sector has witnessed bold reforms, initiatives and interventions to improve electricity supply for sustainable economic growth. Joshua Ojito reports on the gains of these interventions as Nigeria strives for adequate supply.
Nigeria has over the years initiated many policies and concepts at the power sector to get a spark that will bring it to full capacity. But the current of development continues to fluctuate. President Bola Tinubu stepped in at a time many believe the power sector needs some bold initiatives and federal government roll out reforms in 4 key critical areas of legislation and policy foundation: market liquidity reform, tackling infrastructure deficits, and energy transition.
So sustainability is very key, and we have held it with all the importance and significance it deserves. How do we ascertain this? Number 1 is to develop local capacity. We have just introduced now that will ensure the training and development of a minimum of 1,200 engineers within the next 10 years.
The Electricity Act 2023 is still a game changer in the sector with National Integrated Electricity Policy, formulated and approved by the Federal Executive Council, replacing the outdated document of 2001.
The 1 trillion economy is just around the corner, and the only way you can get it is when you have your industry, you're very, very industrialized, you localize your project, you domesticate your technology.
The present administration achieved a peak generation of 6,000 megawatts of electricity in the first quarter of 2025, the first in the history of Nigeria's power sector. With Zungeru Hydroelectric Power Plant currently generating to the national grid, the eye is on Kashimbila Multipurpose Hydro Dam for full evacuation of electricity generated from the dam. Challenges of liquidity and metering are being addressed as the sector continues to witness investment in transmission infrastructure, with the pilot phase of the Presidential Power Initiative, also known as the Siemens project, completed and contract for the phase 1 signed. On energy transition, federal government is investing massively on renewable energy.
Just recently, Mr. President approved that every university across the nation, that the ECN Energy Commission go to, install 2 megawatts of electricity in every university across the 36 states. He didn't stop there. He also directed and approved that the ECN should also install 2 megawatts in every tertiary health facility in this country.
Although Nigeria is yet to achieve adequate supply, with the new currents of efficiency, accountability and the political will, investment and technology being infused into the sector, Nigerians in no too distant future will live to rely on its power sector always, with the economy fully switched on. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Still focusing on the power sector, the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabo, has paid a working visit to the University of Maiduguri to inspect the implementation of the Energizing Education Program, EEP Phase 2, a flagship off-grid electrification initiative of the federal government of Nigeria. The EEP is being executed by the Rural Electrification Agency, REA, under the Nigeria Electrification Program, NEP, with the goal of delivering clean, renewable and reliable energy to federal universities and their associated teaching hospitals. Pauline Kujevana has details.
With the theme Consolidating Reforms for a Sustainable Energy Future in Nigeria, the 6th National Council on Power brought together participants that include stakeholders and experts from the power sector. Minister of Power dwelled extensively on the progress in market liquidity and sector reforms, which he said are essential to reshaping the sector's landscape, including the development of the National Integrated Electricity Policy.
The Federal Ministry of Power, in collaboration with state agencies and with the full support of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, has undertaken several bold and necessary reforms and initiatives to ensure sector development.
Governor Bagana Omar Azilum, who noted the critical role the power sector plays in providing livelihoods, the efforts of the federal authorities and Borno state government towards providing electricity to the citizenry, also vowed to ensure that all communities cut off from the national grid due to insurgency are reconnected before the end of his tenure.
Let me use this opportunity to express my profound appreciation to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces and indeed the Minister for sustaining the Maiduguri gas power plant. Powering Maiduguri gas power plant is not easy.
Other critical stakeholders in the power sector that include National Assembly committees on power, Federal Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Power, as well as state leadership in the power sector, have made various commitments to the success of the Renewed Hope reform initiative in the power sector. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
Mohammed Goni reporting there and not Pauline Kujevana like earlier read. Moving on, the challenge before the Economic Community of West Africa States, ECOWAS, in making the sub-region achieve its vision as becoming one of the biggest economies formed the main thrust of a discussion at a roundtable marking the 50th anniversary in Lagos. Garba Ta'ala reports that General Yakubu Gowon, the only surviving founding father of ECOWAS, attended the forum to set a new path in leadership based on lessons learned from past experiences.
Terrorism and violent extremism is said to be a major challenge affecting the peace and growth of many nations. This first ordinary session is making a headway in addressing the menace in the sub-region despite the withdrawal of 3 member states that are surrounded by insurgents. Presenting the motion titled Strengthening Regional Security Cooperation in Response to the Escalating Threat of Terrorism and Violent Extremism in West Africa and the Sahel, Zainab Gimba urges for deployment of rapid response forces to high-risk zones and improved funding of the multinational Joint Task Force in the Lake Chad Basin.
In respect of the Sahel, Mr. Speaker, between July and October, just nearly 3 months, the Armed Conflict Protection and Defense Data Project recorded 1,535 fatalities.
Members of the parliament seconded the motion, lamenting the wanton killings and destruction being perpetrated by violent groups, urging the ECOWAS on early warning and response network be strengthened to disrupt trafficking and insurgents' migration. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali.
Talking health, the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, says federal government is fully committed to strengthening Nigeria's health security by fostering cross-border collaboration and improving access to essential health services, especially in underserved communities. Professor Pate said this when leadership of the Border Communities Development Agency visited him, where he emphasized the need to work together to close service gaps in remote and border areas. The minister highlights President Tinubu's health agenda through the Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative, which prioritizes health security and equitable service delivery.
To Port Health, we've been on top of them to make sure that our border posts, our point of entries have the requisite health.
The more data we have, the better the decisions. You and us can plan together where you need to put the next facility.
So we've decided that it's important to meet with you and to partner with you, especially with you and the Minister for Education, and so that you consider the border communities in terms of your citing of projects.
And Shafa Energy's introduction of compressed natural gas, CNG, add-on stations marks a pivotal advancement in Nigeria's energy landscape. Stakeholders at the inauguration in Abuja noted that the initiative aligns with the federal government's drive towards cleaner, more affordable energy solutions, supporting President Bola Tinubu's vision for a sustainable future and the Nigeria First policy. Lydia Sampson reports.
The Shafa Energy is already a household name in the oil and gas industry, acclaimed for quality products that has earned the people's trust and confidence. Shafa Energy is again blazing the trail as the first indigenous CNG station in Abuja. For many, it is a significant move for several reasons. For the executive chairman, Shafa Energy, the introduction of the Abuja daughter station is just the beginning.
20 daughter stations to building across the country. We are sure to deliver the same quantity gas for the end user direct.
Our compressors are recognized on the market among the users of these compressors as a Rolls-Royce of the compressors.
CNG offers Nigerians a cost-effective alternative to traditional fuels, contributing to reducing the country's environmental footprint. Shafa Energy stations are part of broader presidential compressed natural gas initiative partnership with the private sector.
Companies like AWA Shafa have been in the downstream industry for a very long time. And as they are seeing more and more of their customers move to CNG, it's important that they move with their customers and they serve their customers.
Our customer service is excellent. So when you come here, the same thing you're going to enjoy when you come to buy CNG. As you can see, we provided two pumps, one to serve the heavy duties, the trucks and the trailers. Then the second one is to service the cars.
These CNG users, amongst the first to purchase Shafa Energy CNG, are already testifying.
What I got now, I think is encouraging.
My honest expectation is a reasonable dispensation for we users. As in, we want a period that will last longer, relatively compared to the ones we've been getting before.
For various industry partners, Shafa Energy's commitment extends beyond CNG to creating employment and contributing to the country's economic growth. This, they say, underscores its role in diversifying Nigeria's energy mix and fostering sustainable development. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Indeed, that's good news for CNG users. And to create a period-friendly world where women and girls are not limited by their biological process of menstruation, WaterAid Nigeria is strengthening strategic partnerships to build models and support systems that will ensure that no woman or girl is forced to choose between her health and education. This was at a forum at the instance of WaterAid in commemoration of this year's Menstrual Hygiene Day. Discussions focused on ending period poverty. Elizabeth Omori tells us more.
Menstruation, the normal monthly process where the uterine lining sheds if pregnancy does not occur. It is a biological process that affects the education and health of many women and girls. In Nigeria, 1 in 4 girls faces difficulty managing her period due to lack of access to affordable and hygienic menstrual products, leading to stigma, shame, and social isolation as an integral part of a woman's health. This comprehensive period education by WaterAid Nigeria is to normalize conversations on menstruation and safety.
A few states have started pushing for pad banks within schools. We think that legislations need to be very clear. The government needs to support fast-tracking the national policy on menstrual health and hygiene, and then to get states to domesticate it. Once we have clear laws and regulations, it's easy to put in place the system and mechanisms that will push them forward.
WaterAid is currently supporting the Ministry of Women Affairs on menstrual health and hygiene policy, expected to be validated and endorsed by the end of June 2025, to understand the barriers and dismantle taboos in order for women and girls to actualize their goals without limitations.
We are supporting with facilities in schools where we ensure that there's constant water. Boreholes are solar powered. It means that there's always water for the girls to clean and wash up.
It requires commitments to ensuring that every school, every workplace, every community has the infrastructure and awareness needed to support menstrual dignity.
WaterAid and other key actors recommend provision of free sanitary towels, community education, and continuous investment in women's health. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
In fulfillment of our pledge, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has donated 7 14-seater biofuel buses to the youth wing of the Christian Association of Nigeria. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo has more.
Flanked by members of the Governing Council of Renewed Hope Initiative, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu again welcomed the leadership of the youth wing of the Christian Association of Nigeria, YOWICAN, to the State House.
That the Lord has made, that the Lord has made.
It is another day, and it offers another opportunity to fulfill our promise to the youth, as she presented 7 jet mover 14-passenger buses to the association.
I present this set of keys.
While handing over the buses to the national chairman of YOWICAN on behalf of RHI, the First Lady applauded the body's passion and support for development, noting that the association can now do more for the nation with the buses.
You should be true followers of Christ indeed, always embrace truth, and do what is right and what is pleasing in the sight of God. It is God that has sustained us. So giving to people who are serving him in one ministry or the other, I think is a good way to celebrate. I would believe that today is indeed the day God wanted us to use it to celebrate, because we would have just been there just thanking God in our own private way for God to have sustained Mr. President and all his team to, be celebrating 2nd anniversary of this administration. But we have something to give, because you can't love without giving. So, and that's what the model God himself has shown us as Christians.
Taking delivery of the buses on the 2nd anniversary of President Bola Tinubu's administration is significant for YOWICAN's national chairman, Belusochukwu Enwere, who pledged further support and prayers for the current administration.
Your generosity, man, will continue to inspire us every day. And this will make our evangelical work possible.
We are grateful to you for this presentation. And we pray that the good Lord will continue to bless you, bless members of the Renewed Hope Initiative, and bless Mr. President, and bless our great nation.
The buses, which run on both CNG and petrol, will serve the office of the national chairman and zonal chairman of YOWICAN in the 6 geopolitical zones. The First Lady had made the pledge to YOWICAN during an Easter Monday brunch with members of the association on April 21 this year. In the State House, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
Time now to take a pause as we join Adiola in our Lagos Network Center for more reports from that axis. Hello, Adiola.
K. Jumai. Learning from the experiences of the last 50 years and the collective action of member nations is imperative to tackle most of the developmental problems bedeviling West African nations. Joel Mukwola reports that this was the consensus of diplomats at a roundtable conference tagged ECOWAS and African Model at 50, Resilience and Future Prospects.
50 years after the establishment of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, the regional body stakeholders agreed has gained traction in several areas, from regional integration to the ECOWAS Parliament and courts, among other institutionalized bodies. But 5 decades after, new challenges are emerging, and this roundtable discussion, spearheaded by the chairman, Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, and the president of the ECOWAS Commission, Aliu Toure, agreed that ECOWAS members should prioritize good governance to reduce poverty to the barest minimum within the sub-region.
While we are working to build trust, we should also encourage all our partners to support us in this process. Trust, we can only collaborate when trust is built. The second main takeaway is the importance of working together to address insecurity.
We need to accelerate the total eradication of the dire poverty the mass of our population find themselves in.
The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, described the suggestions of diplomats and other speakers as valuable and timely.
Member country after member country have highlighted being more inclusive in integrating vulnerable members of the population, and also looking towards the women's agenda as well as a youth agenda.
The only surviving founding father of ECOWAS, General Yakubu Gowon, was among dignitaries on ground to offer his wise counsel to the Commission. ECOWAS will hold a special summit to review the activities of the Commission in the last 50 years. In Lagos, Joel Mukwola, NTA News.
Displays that capture the creativity and cultural diversity of ECOWAS member states took center stage at the ground event to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Diana Ajale, who was at the commemorative ceremony, has more.
This 3-minute drawing and speed painting visual art by Nigerian artist Seun Adebayo in appreciation of the last man alive among the founding African states. General Yakubu Gowon spiced up the commemorative ceremony as members from across the 15 states converged on Lagos in celebration of ECOWAS at 50.
Like moving train.
Adebayo further presented another visual art, this time a creativity capturing what he describes as the true meaning of ECOWAS and what it stands for.
I use rich colors, that's attires from different countries. We carefully select the attires from, we travel all over the country, all over the West African country to pick those attires, collage them together to form that art piece. Africa is a country of unity and diversity, so it speaks of unity and togetherness.
President Bola Tinubu emphasized the important role and gains of ECOWAS, urging member states to mentor younger ones towards building better leaders of tomorrow.
All member states to match policy with action. Let us, our citizens, feel the real impact of our shared efforts. Our young people, who form the majority, must be at the heart of ECOWAS development.
The National Troupe of Nigeria added color to the celebration with a rich display of cultural diversity and unique blend of costumes representing the 15 ECOWAS member states' flags. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
And those are stories from Lagos. The Network News will continue with Benny Adams in the business segment after the break.
It never happens by chance. Really. Focus on the destination and not the journey, or where you're from.
They will see your game. Turn the dark to light.
Never ever settle. Make big moves from your small space.
Join the excitement with Betano, the premier sports betting platform in Nigeria and proud official partner of Aston Villa. Enjoy our award-winning experience with fantastic betting options, cash out, and engaging missions. Discover even more exclusive features. Join now and receive a welcome bonus of up to 200,000 naira. Betano. The game starts now.
What if upgrading your TV doesn't mean buying a new one? Unbelievable, right? But with the new Airtel Smart Router, you can now watch YouTube on any TV and also get unlimited data for 30 days to stream thrilling Nollywood movies, catch up on football highlights, and keep your kids engaged with edutainment all on YouTube. With the Airtel Smart Router, everyone gets what they love. Get the Smart Router plus unlimited data for 25,000 naira. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to get yours. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Exactly. One Supermalt after breakfast daily keeps us at our best.
Supermalt is specially formulated for today's man and woman. It has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
Supermalt, Supermalt for unstoppable you. Fueling your vitality the whole day through. Embrace each challenge with renewed might. With Supermalt, your performance takes flight. Supermalt, unstoppable you.
So what can I get you?
Can I have some more golden penny pasta?
Tell me why you want more.
Because I enjoy slopping.
This is why I love my golden penny pasta. It's my family's favorite. What's your reason?
To courage for romantic dinner.
Reminds me of home every time.
A truly satisfying meal.
It's my ultimate comfort food.
I make delicious combos. I just want more.
Because I love you all.
What's your reason?
Great taste, good nutrition.
Mr. Chef Mixed Spices Seasoning Cube don't land with all your rich spices where you love inside one cube. Mr. Chef Mixed Spices Seasoning Cube. Spice mix exactly the way you like them. They're available for seasoning cube. Try them today.
Shield your families from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
Good, tasty food is worth living for. Worried about your oil every time you enjoy your favorite meal? Introducing Smart Balance. Smart Balance rice bran oil is rich in gamma-oryzanol. Several studies suggest that gamma-oryzanol may contribute to the reduction of bad cholesterol. Golden Terra Smart Balance Oil. Good food, no worries.
Introducing the new Jig Sachet. Whitening your whites has never been more affordable. Now you can keep whites shining brighter and disinfect by killing 99.9% of germs on your floors and other surfaces. Just jig it with Jig Sachet.
You left so many words unsaid.
How life is this crowd? With Tom Tom, no Lily. Let's do this.
Stay confident and stay focused. Breathe for it with Tom Tom.
My morning ritual starts here, surrounded by Life-Made furniture. From my wardrobe to my bed, Life-Made Furniture's whole house customization designs every piece to perfection. I love that in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, Ibadan, and Kano, there's Life-Made Furniture.
For a whole house customization and furniture projects, call 081 2000 6000 or visit elifemade.com. Life-Made, your life made forever.
This is NTA News, and it's that time we talk business. Just as a U.S. court ruled on reinstating President Trump's tariffs, global trade leaders in Geneva, Switzerland say it's time for ceasefire in the ongoing trade war to ensure global prosperity.
Today is not trade wars. If you speak about trade wars, we should be speaking about a permanent ceasefire on those wars in any kind of economic war. And we'd like to have the big powers of the world to work together so that they can enhance not only open trade, but also global prosperity.
I remain convinced that a bright future awaits global trade and the WTO if we do the right thing.
Looking at the market around the world, the Nigerian stock market closed in red on Thursday, reversing some of the gains recorded in the last 3 sessions. As the all-share index lost 8 basis points, they closed at 111,818.8 basis points, down from 111,902.61 basis points on Wednesday. And investors lost a 53.30 billion naira, with market capitalization closing at 70.5 trillion due to sell-offs in Seplat, Wando, GT Co, Access Co, First Whole Co, and 19 other stocks. While the South African JSE Top 40 is in green, appreciating by 0.94%. The Tunisia Tune Index is also down, just like Nigeria, by 0.21%. Jumai, this is it on business. You can take it from here.
Okay, thank you, Benny. Moving on. President Bola Tinubu has congratulated President Mohamed Ould Sheikh El Ghazani of Mauritania on the election of Dr. Sidi Ould Tah as the 9th president of the African Development Bank Group. In a telephone conversation with the Mauritanian leader, President Tinubu commenced the transparent process that led to the emergence of the former Mauritanian Finance Minister Tah, will succeed Dr. Akinwumi Adesina of Nigeria, who will step down in September after completing 2 5-year terms. President Tinubu believes that Dr. Tah would bring a wealth of experience to the role, given his track record in former positions. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has felicitated with the former Katsina State Governor Aminu Bello Masari on his 75th birthday. The president salutes the former Speaker, House of Representatives, and current chairman of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED Fund, for his voice of wisdom and stabilizing role in the nation's polity. President Tinubu acknowledges the contributions of the man he described as a bridge builder to the successes recorded by the All Progressives Congress, APC, since the 2015 general elections, particularly in ensuring a common ground for communication and negotiation among members. The president prays that Allah will grant the former speaker a longer life, good health, and more wisdom to serve the nation. We'll take another break. We'll be right back.